I met my love by the gasworks wall, dreamed a dream by the old canal. I kissed my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town, dirty old town.
All this local history, what's it all about? Searching here and searching there, trying to find things out. But where have all the landmarks gone that we remember well? Memories of our childhood, we all have a tale to tell. The old town hall that had steps to climb, churches and chapels caked in grime. These are the gems we used to know, now gone forever like the melting snow. So let us find out all we can and solve any mystery. For what we find out from today will be tomorrow's history.
My name's Stella Elliott, and I'd like to tell you about my husband, who was a pupil at Wellington Street School, and then he went from there and joined the army. He always lived in the Charlestown Lower Kersal area. He served with the Royals as a regular soldier. He went to Egypt and Germany during his service, and when he came out of the army he went and got a job at H-Croft Power Station. We had 5 children that all live in the Lower Kersal, Charlestown area, and my husband also has a family that stem from 1831 in the Douglas Green area, and he had a grandfather that used to sit in the little park on Whit Lane, and they used to call him the Old Moat.
Hi, my name's Joyce Smith, and I used to live in Grindon Avenue, where I was 15 and I just started work at Greengate Nowell, and it came over in the January of 1954. I think it was the volume.
We never really took much notice either as children.
Because you see, I don't think the grids were the first to go. They wouldn't take the water, and then that's when it started. And because we live in we're surrounded by water, it came over from what we used to call the backfields. They hadn't got the flats on then. And it came over that way, and it came over the front fields. So it kind of met halfway in the estate, and that's what contributed to it being so deep.
It was in Pendleton when we all used to go on a Friday night and see who we could pick up as we were kids. I'd get a few shandies or something and think we was on top of the world. And that's where I met my husband, and that's where my sister-in-law met her. We used to be dancing. But there was never any trouble. We always enjoyed ourselves, and there was no fights, carryings on, no drugs, nothing. And we all had a good night, and we'd come home, and we'd come home as respectable as we went out, except for a couple of shandies.
My memories of the Maypole is of the 70s. Because we used to have the Children's Guild children's Christmas parties and the football lads parties and any dances they had in the Maypole.
Well, I remember the Cromwell very, very well, really. In fact, I think I lived there, really, because I used to go so often. And there were such good films on, and Dorothy L'Amour and Rita Hayworth and all.
Bette Davis.
Bette Davis, and all really good. They don't make them nowadays like they did many years ago. The usherette used to come round with a torch, and she used to pick up all the courting couples at the back, you know, shine a light on the couple.
Well, I remember the Cromer because we lived on Lichfield Street, which was only about 100 yards away, and we had a beautiful garden. And you could time the Cromer, the picture started, because it started at 6 o'clock, first house, and they used to come out at 8 o'clock, and there's crowds of people that used to come past our garden. My gran used to stand there and she used to talk to everybody, so it was a good meeting place as well as a good picture house. And then on a Saturday it was the kids' matinee. You could either go in the threepenny bits at the front or the posh seats at the back, which was sixpence. And of course we saw Roy Rogers and all the cowboys, I can't remember them now. And when we used to come out, we all used to have these navy blue gabardines, and we used to button them up to here, just with the one button, and have them flapping over our shoulder as if it was like riding a horse. That's when we was kids.
Well, when you went to the crummy, as Mildred said, that's what we all called it, the crummy. And they had two programmes of the night time, but it was all continuous. You can go in the first house, you'd see the newsreel and the picture, and then you'd be the newsreel and the picture again, and come out of a night time. So it was a full night out if you wanted to. They didn't throw you out. Again, you've got the cheap seats at the front and the posh seats at the back. I didn't go to the matinees, I wasn't allowed. But I did, my mum used to take me twice a week. Every time the programme changed, she'd take me twice a week. But then we'd go to the Scaler as well. So it wasn't just one, there was quite a few picture houses in the area. I had a few of my courting days in there, and it brings back memories.
We'd come out of the pictures and we'd reenact what we'd seen. The lads would be jumping off the air raid shelters with the cloaks on. They were what they'd just seen on the film. And then later on, when I was I met my husband round about that time, and we always went upstairs, and beautiful stairs, winding stairs when you went on a date, and lovely red plush seats and double seats at the back, and that's where we did our courting. And the Scaler and all the picture houses we had. Happy memories, really, they were. And then we used to come out of the pictures and go to the chip shop facing and walk home with fish and chips in newspaper.
When it was a children's matinee on a Saturday afternoon, all the kit were very, very well organised, and all the ushers were there. And you had to, when you paid, you would follow the line, and the usherette, you went down the road, she knew there was 40 seats, and she'd wave 40 kids in, and they get down, and you might get there was no seat, and you would say, Miss, there's no seats, shut up and sit down. And you had to sit in that, on the arm of somebody's seat all through the pictures. Can you remember
We
that?
were well behaved them days, weren't we?
We just accepted it.
Yeah, we accepted it. Yeah.
At this moment in time, I'm living in a regeneration area. We're going to move to new homes. I've lived all my life in this area, from being the age of 7. I've seen lots of changes, lots of things have gone. Street parties we used to have for the children, and outings, and it's so sad, but this is how it is now. We've just got to get used to it.
One day in 1944, I was in the back entry at the back of the house, and I heard this plane coming very, very low.
I looked through the window and I saw this plane with smoke coming from the engine.
I heard somebody say it's one of ours.
And we all got from the table and rushed out, and everybody was in the streets.
Bomber came over approximately three rooftop heights and made its way towards Tom's along the line with Orchard Street.
Everybody was looking up in terror, and we just left our houses and doors open, and we all run after the plane because you knew it was coming down.
And just a few minutes later there was a tremendous crash.
And then we heard a thud and a bang.
And everybody was just milling around, just so quiet. Nobody was talking. They were all in shock. And the houses opposite, apparently, it skimmed the roof and caused damage.
One of the crew lived in Swinton and knew that the playing fields were there, so he thought he could land, but the playing fields were full of piles of rubble and bricks and things to stop enemy aircraft landing. And so it was impossible for them to land, and so They were very, very brave, and they came and crashed into the riverbank, and they all lost their lives.
Then we got the details later. We knew it was a Lancaster because you knew what everything was plane-wise in those days.
Let's push away the mist and go back in time to see how many of your memories you can add to mine. Let's think of the people that came into our lives, like the man on the bike who would sharpen scissors and knives. Remember the Indian who would knock on the door, his suitcase full of wares he'd display on the floor. The sound of the knocker up on the window pane, whatever the weather, he was there with his cane. The chimney sweep always covered in soot, and the watchman with his brazier asleep in his hut. The man with silver paint painting numbers on the doors. No carpets then, just oilcloth on the floor. Coke from the gaswork, carried in a pram. No catching a bus, we all used the tram. Wickets for cricket, painted on the wall. Coats used for goalpost when the boys played football.
My friend, I'll state clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've travelled each and every highway, and more, much more than this.